Be making another Klaus Denuta sign on the CNC machine. So we have our program already loaded. We're going to be using 3 different bits, an 1/8 inch, a 16th inch, and a 1mm. We have everything zeroed out on the X, Y, and Z. So all we have to do is get the camera set up, close the doors of the cabinet, and we'll get started. Again, if you're interested, please like and subscribe. Helps the channel grow. And enjoy. If I could focus the camera. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Making Klaus from American Dad on the CNC. Doing a nice little sign of him. We got about a 10% step over on this bit. So it may seem like it's doing a lot of repetitive drilling, but what it's doing is getting that extra detail just to make the model a little smoother and less material I need to clean up when it's done. Here's what the sign's going to look like when it's done. So we'll be making that. As you can see, we just started working on the details of Klaus there from American Dad. Once I get done, I'm going to stain it and put a little hanger on the back to hang it up in my man cave. So we just started 3 bits. We're using an 1/8 inch right now, and we also have a 1/16 inch and a 1 millimeter to get all that detail. Thanks, Ethan. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I designed it a couple weeks ago and just started cutting them up right now. And yeah, they're pretty fun to do. Yeah, it's a fun show. If you were into that, I was always a fan of The Simpsons growing up, so I really liked American Dad when it came out. And I figured I'd make a sign because there's not too much out there in terms of like memorabilia. So yeah, right now we're just getting all the detail out of Klaus on the cuts. And then once we get all the big details with this 1/8 inch end mill bit, we'll switch over to the 16th inch and then start getting a little more detail on like the text and some places where this 1 millimeter, 1/8 inch can't go. So we're slowly working away a lot of this excess material we don't need. It's doing its passes to get a nice smooth finish. Again, it might look like it's doing the same passes over and over again, but that's because it's just going down a little bit finer for the last pass, just to get a nice smooth finish out of the material. Oh, thanks for the sub, Ethan. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I do this live stuff every now and then, just after files I make, and I also do a lot of woodwork and stuff on my channel. Just stuff that I like and, you know, it just interests me. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Closer in there. It's tough because of lighting. I got a light in this enclosure, but the router itself kind of blocks it, so I'm trying to do my best to keep the lighting on there. Now we're going to work on the fishbowl, it looks like. Again, thanks very much, Ethan. Really appreciate that. So this is the part we're working on the bowl, and again, if you just joined us, we'll be making this. Klaus Danuta sign. If you ever seen the show American Dad, it's one of his crazy little phrases he says in one of the episodes. So it's one of my favorite characters on the show, and I decided I wanted to make a sign for him. And we're getting a little dust on the screen, so hold on while I wipe it off. The only tough part about doing this in enclosure is I get a lot of this dust on the screen. Let's see if I can move it over this way. Maybe that'll be better. Maybe not. Gonna apologize for that, but let me try wiping it down just a little bit too. There it goes. There we go. Yeah, it's just autofocus on my camera. Keeps just trying to focus in on that dust on the screen. Kind of unfortunate, but yeah, if it's working, it's working. I usually cut it on the other side of the table, so I haven't really cut much on this side. Now I'm knowing the lighting isn't the greatest over here. No, haven't played with any Army toys. Sorry about that. I appreciate that, Unbowed. Thank you. Yeah, I like doing this. I picked this up about a couple years ago, and every now and then I like to make what, or show what I'm making. Just something I like to do. So we're working on the tail now. We got another couple minutes left of this 1/8 inch end mill bit for the detail, and then what we're going to do next is we're going to cut the outline of the sign itself. Usually I wait till the end for that, but since I don't want to take out the 1/8 inch and then put on the next couple bits and then go right back to the 1/8 inch, I'm just going to do it all. So after this, we'll do the outline and then just a little more detail, and then we'll switch it up to the 16th inch bit to get some more detail with the text. Appreciate the sub there on mode. Really appreciate it. So when this is all done, this is what it's going to look like. And what I do is I stain the sides as well as the back, and I put a little class on there to hang it up on the wall. So just getting started, and here's where we're going. We're getting there. Thanks. Yeah, so a lot of times it'll seem like it's just going over the same spots multiple times. What I set it to is get a high detail cut, so it makes it a little easier for cleaning up. So what it's going to do, like right now, it's going over the bottom there just to kind of basically sand it down for me. What I found is if I do this very fine last pass, it really helps with cleaning it up, so just prevents me from doing a lot of extra work on it. It takes a little longer, but the detail is great, and it saves time, you know, versus cleaning it up. Yeah, Ethan, I'm selling. I have a link to my Etsy page on the top of the chat, I believe. I got a whole bunch of different stuff there, different carvings I've done. So if you're interested, you know, go check it out there. All right, so we're done with this pass, and now what I'm going to do is just reload in the next file. So what I'm going to do is load in the profile, and what it's going to do now is cut the profile of the sign. So we'll get the profile of the sign as well as profile of the character. So I'll back it up a little bit. So it's a little loud because it's a little aggressive of a cut, but my machine's able to do it, so I'll keep with it. And you're going to see a lot of this sawdust kick up on the screen just because of how aggressive it is. Try to clean up the... One nice thing about having this enclosure, it kind of keeps it all contained, all the sawdust. Helps with the noise, even though I imagine it probably sounds pretty loud. Without this enclosure, it'd be a lot louder. Yeah, if you just go on Etsy, Ethan, and just look up just look at my name on Etsy. You should be able to find my shop on there. I didn't know I would do that to the link. Thank you for not reporting it, by the way. And this is like a fine pass for this, even though it's not really cutting anything. I don't know why it does this pass on the character. The next cut profile we're going to do is we're going to actually cut out the outline for Klaus. So let me clean up this really quick. And then you should see the next pass for Klaus here. Alright, let's start this one. It'll do a last pass, and what it's going to do is just get a little finer on it, just to kind of clean up the edge in there. And then here we'll do the profile on Klaus. Except it's going to hide it because this thing here. Okay, so that is our last cut with the 1/8 inch end mill bit. So now what we're going to do is swap that out for a 1/16 inch end mill bit. So what I'm going to do is slowly, or actually not slowly, I'm just going to take off this bit here. I got to clean some of this up. Some of the other things I made too, if anybody's interested. I got Kevin from The Office, War Turtle. I made a Pikachu. Just stuff that my kids might find interesting. But right now, we'll go swap out this bit. So what I'm going to do is take this off here. Okay, we have our 1/8 inch end mill bit removed. And now we're going to use our 1/16 inch end mill bit, which is right here. It's a little smaller. 1/16 inch is half the size of the 1/8 inch. So we'll put that on there and we'll tighten it up. So we'll tighten it in there, and we'll keep our X and the Y the same, but we'll have to calibrate the bit because we got a new height on the bit itself. So what I'm going to do is move the axis a little bit. We'll drop it down. And what I'm going to do now is take my Z probe, and actually I raised it too low, lift it up. And what it's going to do is, this is basically just a circuit that we're going to create. We're going to attach this alligator clip to the bit itself. And then this plate here, the bit's going to slowly lower, and when it touches the plate, it basically completes the circuit. And we know our height of this, so in the software it can tell exactly how high off the material this bit is, and that's what we do to calibrate it. So let me see if I can drop that down just a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and calibrate this. So it'll do 2 passes. We gotta touch it first to recognize it. And we're going to start it. You can see it dropping slow, touches it, it comes back up, and it's slowly lowering down just to get a final calibration touch on it. And once it touches, it knows exactly how high off the material our new 1/16 inch end mill bit is. So we got that calibrated. We're ready to move on to the next steps. We go over to the computer software. So that was the last pass we just did right there. We're going to load in our new file. I call it the 1/16 inch bit. And there it's going to basically do all the text on the sign. Again, this is the sign we're making right now. We basically got Klaus done. We have to get the text. for both of these. So we're ready to rock and roll. Close this. Actually, let me wipe off the enclosure lids because it gets a little dusty, like I mentioned. So I'm going to wipe it down. Hopefully my camera doesn't pick that up. We'll go ahead, close the cabinet, turn on our router, close it, and then I'll go ahead and start the file. Get some light in there, hopefully makes it a little bright, and we'll start it. So this one's going to quickly get all our text down, get as much of it as we can, and once we got as much as we can with the 16th inch, we'll do the 1 millimeter to get all the detail that the 16th inch can't get. So you see that's nicely cutting there, and I do the I like to stain it like this because I like the two-tone, just because it's easier to see stuff like this. You know, you have it set at your, I have it stained Kona brown with a gel stain. And then, yeah, just remove everything that I want to show. And that helps with kind of detail. Yeah, thanks, Unbowed. It's just easier to do the two-tone, to have it stained ahead of time versus just cutting it up and then, you know, trying to figure out, do I paint it? You know, how do I get that detail? It really helps with the outline. Now, if I wanted to, I could take like an epoxy and kind of fill it in, which sounds awesome, but yeah, the amount of work that would take is just a little more than I'm willing to to do right now and stuff like this. But maybe for the future, some projects, I'll go ahead and do that. And usually if I'm not recording, what I do is, you can see on the edge of my router right there, there's that little tube. I'll hook my vacuum up to it, and what I'll do is I'll use that for dust collection, but keeping the vacuum on is kind of loud, so I don't want to bother everybody with that noise. And then there I go, wiping down the screen. So yeah, if I wasn't recording, I'd be running the vacuum to get a lot of this dust out of there. Thanks, Ethan. Yeah, I got families watching movies on Netflix, so the internet bandwidth's being used elsewhere besides me right now. Yeah, and the software kind of decides how it wants to do the text. You know, if it was up, you know, a human doing it, you would probably go in order of all the text, you know, upper left and then left to right. But the software decides what's the most efficient way to do this. And there's probably ways you can set how you want the cut profiles to be done, but I just go with whatever the software thinks is the best way to handle these cuts. No, that's all right. They get a chance to use the internet too. I'm not going to be mad or mean to them. I appreciate them for letting me go away and go downstairs and do this. So I'm really grateful for them. We got another few minutes with a 1/16 inch bit, and then we'll do the 1mm bit, which is a nice little tiny guy right here. It's not going to focus, but yeah, that'll be the last bit we use to get a lot of the detail on the sign that we're missing out on right now. Seriously. Sorry for the focusing issue, guys. Really sorry about that. Next time I'll switch over to this side of the enclosure. Like I said, I've done streams on this side and it's no problem. But this side, for whatever reason, just the lighting and the sawdust just kind of collect on that side. It makes it a little more difficult to zoom in and get a lot of detail. Anybody got any plans for Thanksgiving coming up? Besides eating a whole bunch of food and sitting on the couch, I'll be watching football all day. That's my holiday right there. I appreciate everybody watching this too. It's nice to see, you know, you do a stream, you got people watching and being interactive with. It's always makes me feel happy, and you know that people actually care what I do. So this is a little fun hobby of mine. Like I said, I got into this a couple years ago. I get big into woodworking, do a lot of stuff, and then I got into CNC sign making, or you know, whatever needs to be done. So yeah, again, appreciate everybody who's watching right now. Alright, we got another minute with this bit, and then we'll do the same thing where we take it out, put the 1mm bit in, calibrate it, and then finish up the sign. Okay, we are done with this bit here. Now what we're going to do is swap out this bit for our 16th inch end mill bits. Or 1mm end mill bits, excuse me. So we'll take our 2 open-ended wrenches. And we'll go ahead and remove this here. And I'm hovering over the camera, so hopefully I don't knock it over. So let's take this off. So again, this is our 16th inch end mill bit down cut. And we're going to go with a smaller 1mm bit to finish it up and get all the detail that we couldn't get with the other 2. So here is our 1mm end mill bit down cut for the cut. Real tiny guy. So this, I showed that I had the sign finish, and what I did is that one took a little longer than I'd like. So this new file went a little more aggressive with the cut on this bit. So whenever you go aggressive, you always run the risk of breaking a bit, where it just snaps and you lose your cut. So we're going to hope that's not going to happen with this one. We'll find out. Really hope it doesn't happen. But we'll go here, load in our 1mm file. So close this one, load our file, 1mm. And then that's going to go and basically get all the detail and Klaus and all the text, and basically just do a last pass just to get a little more detail and make it a little more cleaner. So let's get to cutting for this last bit. Again, appreciate everybody watching. If you'd like and subscribe, it really helps my channel grow. And if you're interested in buying some of the signs I make, it's on Etsy. Just go on there and just look up Old Fashioned Nights. I should be on there. So let's turn on the router. Oh, I almost made a boo-boo here. You know what I did? I did not calibrate it. That was a rookie mistake right there. So that would have been a oopsie. So we're going to go calibrate this like we did before. Take our probe, attach this end to the bit itself, and leave this on the material. We know the exact height of this, so what it's going to do is touch the probe there, and we'll figure out exactly where that bit is in relation to the material. So touch that, and that might be a little too high off the material with the bit, but we'll see what happens. If it travels so far and doesn't touch it, it says error. And we touched it. Okay, we're good. So now it's going down slowly for that second final pass. Good. Now we're calibrated. Whew, we avoided a disaster. That would have probably negated everything I've done. Don't do what I do. Or as I tell my kids, don't do what Daddy does. Okay, now we're ready to go. Last one. So let's turn her on. We got it turned on. And we'll go start the file. So you see it's getting a little aggressive there. It's moving pretty fast. And it's getting all that stuff that the other bits couldn't get. You can see it's getting right there under the eyes where the other bits couldn't get. And we're just cleaning up all that extra stuff. Doing a good job getting that detail. See, I'll probably get the eyelid there. Get the hair. And it's going to get the outlines of all the stuff just to get the detail and kind of clean it up. So you'll see it's going to do basically run around the whole perimeter of the inside profile. And I'll do that I think twice. It'll do a little bit hot or this height, and then the next one will drop down and do a little more. You see it, all the stuff it's cutting up right there as it peels away. I always find it crazy how it can keep that accuracy, especially on one you can buy for your household like this one here. I don't think anybody knows what 6'7" means. Yeah, that's what I thought. But yeah, I hear it all the time from kids. Thank you, Anthony, for the jewels. Really appreciate it. Again, thanks everybody for watching. I like doing this stuff. I also like American Dad, huge fan of it. So I'd like to make a sign for it. And see, it gets all that detail that the other two bits just couldn't get. Just cleaning it up nice and slowly. Just a little finishing pass right there. Now it's getting a little bubbles there. Cleaning those up. Here it's going to do its little pass to get all the detail. I do like the show. It's one of those ones that I was a huge Simpson fan growing up, but obviously, you know, old Simpsons versus new Simpsons are completely different. But for whatever reason, American Dad kept, I believe it kept the consistency. I think it's on like season 23. You know, I don't watch it religiously, but every chance I get, you know, I always find myself laughing, even the newer episodes. So, yeah, just something I like to do. I wanted to throw something in my man cave, didn't find too much stuff for American Dad, so I figured I'd make my own, and here we are. Again, if you're interested in this stuff, please like and subscribe. My goal this year is to get up to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I'm getting close. So any sub really helps me get to my own personal goal. But I really appreciate anybody who's sticking around and watching this. Really appreciate that too. I don't know. I started getting into CNC woodworking a couple years ago. I do a whole bunch of different stuff. I did a bunch of cutting boards. I made furniture, wine racks. I guess some of the stuff I made for on this CNC is, if you ever watch the show The Office, I made Kevin with his chili. You know, I made Word Turtle. Big Pokemon fan when I was a kid. Oh man, 25 years ago. Pikachu. Some other stuff too. If you like the show Chair Company on HBO with Tim Robinson, I also made a Tekka sign. They're the ones that make the chairs in Chair Company. If you also like the show Tires, I got a Valley Forge automotive sign here. And all the signs I make, you know, I do a little, oh, not that one, but this one I do a little clasp to hold it on the wall. So it's just another form of woodworking. I do a lot of DIY stuff too, you know, building stuff around the home. I built my family a full play set in the backyard. I did a removable TV stand too for the outside. I like working on stuff. Wood. I just like being self-sufficient. And this is the next thing is just, you know, doing signs. I threw them on Etsy. I got to pay for this machine, so any way I can make some money, it helps too. But yeah, I just like doing this stuff. Yes, it's pine wood. So what I do is I basically just take a piece of pine, I stain it, and then what I do is basically, actually, yeah, here. So this one here, I just stain the top half, the back side, I leave just pine, because then once it's done, I'll stain it. And basically, I just cut away the stain, you know, to get that texture, so that two-tone. Makes it easier to see text like this. So that's what I'm doing for the cloth sign right now. And then I'll throw a little place, or a little hanger on the back to make it to hang up on the wall. So yeah, stain first. I mean, you can do anything too. I just do pine wood because it's cheaper, and not only cheapness is a benefit. It's also a softer wood, so it's easier to be more aggressive with your cut profiles. If I were to say make this out of maple, I could do it still. It just would take longer because I would have to slow down my rates and my feed speeds. So it's just easier to do pine. So right now the text is, I think, only a tenth of an inch in there. Klaus himself, he might be not a quarter, maybe like 3/16. I'll have to double check. But I mean, the profile of the sign itself, I cut all the way through, obviously, and that's 3/4 inch. So you're really limited by what your bit can do. Like this 1 millimeter bit, you know, it's not meant to cut through. It's more for like the small detail stuff and not too deep. But for like your larger bits, like this 1/8 inch end mill bit, it's about a little more than 3/4 long that I can cut through stuff. So I mean, really, you're limited by the size of your bit, and that's about it. So you can see it's just going right around the edges there to get that detail. And what that's doing right now is making it so I don't have to sand down the inside of that for the text. It's going to do a nice fine pass, so it makes it nice and clear, and basically makes it so I don't have to do a lot of work to get this cleaned up. Yeah, it's a CNC machine. It's a woodcutter. Thank you for the compliment, Wade. Yeah, it took me a while to get this point to make the cuts look so clean. Just something that you gotta, you know, I'm not mastering it, but you know, you make some cuts, you learn from it, and then you apply those to the next one. Yeah, straight. Sorry, I was getting something to drink. My throat. I've been dealing with the cold. Yeah, I'll try to answer your questions now. Yeah, it's a straight. It's an end mill straight bit, down cut. I used 3 bits. There's an 1/8 inch that I started, the 16th inch, and now we're on the 1 millimeter. They're all end mill bits with a down cut. Yeah, it's a quiet machine. I'll show you my enclosure here. So I made this for this. Run my power and stuff like that. My little controller down there for the power going to it. Dust collection and bits. And I have doors in the back so I can open up in the back so I can service it if it needs some work. That was fun to make. This kind of takes up my whole little workshop here, this enclosure, but I got it on wheels so I can slide it about my basement and my little workshop here. But it keeps it quiet for the family so they don't have to hear that loud router going. No noise canceling, just a lot of plywood and 2x4s to kind of keep this quiet. Plexiglass helps, keeps it kind of quiet. And I got my light up there too that I run in there. And add an extension, so this can basically cut 2 feet by 2 feet, and I think 3 3/4 inches high. Here's something else I made too. I don't just make signs. So I made this, I call this the beer hammer. It's got a bottle opener on the side there. I call it the beer hammer because it opens bottles and I can crush cans with it. So that's a beer hammer. This is actually made out of maple, cherry, and walnut. So this is some of the stuff on hardwood that I've used with that CNC machine. Custom made the handle, bottle opener. So yeah, can do a lot of different stuff. You can see now we're just kind of getting all that little detail. You know, I probably didn't need to do the 1mm for a lot of this, but I don't know. I don't want to make something that doesn't look complete. So that's what it's doing, is just getting that extra detail and just making it look nice, clean, and professional. We got about another 8 minutes left on this bit and we will be all done. So you can see right now it's just going on the outline of the letters there and getting all that excess material off and cleaning up the cut so it looks nice, but nice and crisp. So I think it does it in 2 passes. So this is the second one. 1, 2. 1, 2. Yeah, 2 passes. Hi, Ethan. Sorry. Had to step away. Oh, see what the family's up to. We got about another 5 minutes now. We're getting close. Again, once this is all done, well, basically it looks all done right now. But what I'll have to do, and I'll do this tomorrow, is once it's all done, I'll take it out like this, and what I'm going to do is take my palm router, because these edges are pretty sharp, so what I'm going to do is round them over on both sides, and then I'm going to stain the tops and the bottom, as well as the back. And then once the stain's dried, I'll add this little picture hanger to it, and then we'll go ahead and we'll hang it up in our man cave or sell it. This one's for the man cave. This one is actually sold right now, so I'm building it to mail out hopefully by Monday. And again, if anybody's interested, it's on my Etsy page. I know this Friday, for Black Friday, there'll be a discount code, I think, on Etsy. And I know if you throw this in your shopping cart, you'll get like a 10% off one too. So if you're interested in buying it or any of the other stuff I make for like a Christmas gift or just something you want to throw at your desk, your office, your man cave, or just whatever, you can go find it on my Etsy page. Just look for Old Fashioned Nights. And when I think this one's done, I think I will have myself a beer and watch a movie and go to bed. It's been one of those kind of weeks at work. And then if you want to see what it looks like when you're actually using the software, so you can basically see it's doing the exact same sort of cuts. You got your drill bit on the screen there, and it's showing you what it's actually cutting right now. So right now we're going to the T. You can see that it might be hard to see, but there's 2 lines. And we're going to the H, is going to go over it twice, and that's what it's got left. Just that stuff in blue. And it's just a way to visually see what the software is doing right now. Alright, we got about 2 minutes left and we'll be done here. We got a little bit more of the words to finish, and we also got the little insides of the bubbles on Klaus's bowl right there we'll have to do. So a few more words. Alright, another 20 seconds and we'll be all done. It's got the L, the K, and then we'll just finish up the bubbles. And there, it's going to get the inside of the bubbles. And we are done. So that is our Klaus Denuta sign. So we'll move back. Let's open up this door here. Back up the router just a little bit to see it a little better. And there we go. We have our Denuta sign from American Dad. We got Klaus Denuta. It is me. Will you go there? Do you eat? I got the money. Denuta. So yeah, we are all done. Again, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. If you don't mind, like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good weekend and a good Thanksgiving. Bye.